In a quiet town called Umuko, there lived a beautiful girl named Umma. She was admired by everyone in the village, and men from far and wide came to ask for her hand in marriage. No one could deny her beauty, her glowing skin, her radiant smile, and kind eyes made her the talk of the town. But no matter how many men asked her to marry them, Umma couldn't say yes. Instead, she preferred to spend time with them, only to send them away once she was done. It wasn't because she didn't want love. Umma had a deep secret, one she couldn't share with anyone except her two best friends, Uzo and Kene. She trusted them completely and confided in them about her struggles. Umma had something inside her, something that made her feel restless. She couldn't spend a day without being with a man. It wasn't just one man. Sometimes it was even 10. In a single day. It wasn't because she wanted to, but because she had to. There was a fire inside her that she couldn't control. Since she was 15 years old, Umma had felt a strange burning in her body that made her feel restless. She started seeking out men to calm the fire. But no matter what she did, the feeling never went away. By the time she turned 25, the problem had grown worse. She had lost count of how many times she had sought help, but no one knew how to help her. Umma had slept with almost all the men in her town because she had a very high fire between her legs that needed to be constantly satisfied. Umma was deeply ashamed. She had even paid men to be with her just to ease the burning inside her, but nothing worked. Every night, she would lie in bed and cry, wondering why she was cursed with these terrible secrets. She didn't want to live this way, but it seemed impossible to stop. Her parents were clueless about what was happening to their beautiful daughter. They often pressured her to get married, saying, "Umma, you are so beautiful. Why don't you settle down with a nice man?" But Umma couldn't tell them the truth. How could she explain that one man would never be enough for her? How could she marry when she needed many men every day? So, she kept her secrets, telling her parents she wasn't ready for marriage, even though the real reason was far darker. One day, while walking out of a small cafe, Umma bumped into a young man named Chima. He was kind and gentle, and for the first time in her life, Umma felt something strange, something different. Her heart raced and her cheeks flushed. Chima smiled at her and said, "No worries, are you okay?" Umma nodded quickly, unable to speak. As Chima offered her a ride home, she found herself agreeing without hesitation. That night, after their chance meeting, Umma couldn't stop thinking about him. She felt something she hadn't felt before. Hope. Maybe, just maybe, Chima could be different. As days went by, Umma and Chima grew closer. They spent more time together, and soon enough, Chima confessed his love for her. Umma was overjoyed. For the first time, she believed she could have a normal life. Maybe this love would take away her secrets and the fire inside her would disappear. But it didn't. Even though Umma loved Chima deeply, the burning desire didn't stop. She tried to hide it. But soon she found herself sneaking away to meet other men on a daily basis. She hated herself for it, but she couldn't resist the pull. The guilt ate away at her. Every time she was with Chima, she felt like she was lying to him. She wanted to be faithful, but the fire was too strong in between her legs. One evening, Chima surprised Umma with a proposal. He got down on one knee and asked, "Will you marry me?" Umma was shocked and said yes. And she couldn't wait to share the news with her best friends, Uzo and Kene. The three friends met at their usual spot the next day. Umma proudly showed off her engagement ring, her smile wide and bright. Uzo and Kene cheered for her, hugging her tightly and celebrating this big moment in her life. They drank and laughed, imagining the beautiful life Umma was about to have with Chima. But deep inside, Kene felt something dark. She had always been in Uma's shadow. Kene had struggled to find love herself, and now she couldn't understand how Uma, who carried such a dark secret, could be the one to get everything. Kene felt bitter and jealous. How could someone who slept with so many men be rewarded with love and happiness, while she, Kene, was left with nothing? Kene couldn't stop the jealousy from growing. It ate away at her until she came up with a plan to stop Uma's wedding. The big day arrived. Uma and Chima were surrounded by friends and family, and the wedding hall was beautifully decorated. Everyone was excited to witness their love. But just as Uma and Chima were about to exchange their rings, something strange happened. The large screen in the hall flickered, and a video started playing. It wasn't a sweet video of Uma and Chima's journey together. No, it was something much worse. It was a video recording of Uma sleeping with different men. The guests gasped in shock as the sounds of their voices filled the room. Uma's secret was out for everyone to see. Chima's face turned pale. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Uma stood frozen, her world crashing down around her. The whispers in the room grew louder, and Uma could feel the weight of everyone's judgments. Chima didn't say a word. He walked out of the hall, leaving Uma behind. Uma ran after him, crying and begging him to listen. But it was too late. Chima was too hot. He drove away, leaving Uma standing there, broken and alone. Uzo quickly rushed to Uma's side, helping her into a car and driving her home. Uma cried uncontrollably, wondering how her life had come to this. She knew her secret would destroy her, but she never thought it would happen this way. The days that followed were filled with pain and regrets. Uma's heart ached for Chima, but she knew the hard truth was difficult to face. She couldn't live with her secret any longer. She needed help, real help, to deal with the fire inside. You must be wondering who had played that video on Uma's wedding day. It was Kene. Kene, her friend, the one she trusted with her secrets. Kene actually took a secret recording of Uma with other men and played it on the screen on her wedding day, just to end the marriage, all because of envy and jealousy. Uma didn't know Kene was involved. She still treated Kene like a friend and sister. Kene kept on putting fire into Chima and Uma's relationship, seeking different ways to get Chima's attention. She said to herself, "Since I have succeeded in destroying the relationship between Chima and Uma, I think I can have Chima to myself. Why would someone who is always sleeping with many men marry this handsome man and me, Kene, can't? I must get Chima." She tried so hard, but it failed because Chima wasn't interested in anything that has to do with Uma. Talk more of being with her friend. Uma, on the other hand, decided to seek professional help. She found a doctor who specialized in the disorder she had, and slowly, through therapy and treatments, she began to heal. It wasn't easy, but Uma knew she had to fight for her life. One day, after many months of healing, Uma received a letter from Chima. In it, he told her that while he was hurt by what had happened, he still cared about her and wanted her to get better. He also went ahead to write that he later realized that it wasn't Uma's fault. It was a health condition, and told her to call the phone number in the letter. Out of all excitement, Uma called Chima through the phone number written in the letter, and they had a very lengthy conversation that led to a reconciliation. Chima and Uma's relationship kick-started all over again, and Chima was ready to support Uma through her therapy to get healed completely from her high libido issues. Kene, on the other hand, realized that she couldn't have Chima, and she realized that she had done so much harm to her friend Uma. She decided to come seek forgiveness. She begged Umma to please forgive her, that she was so sorry. And Umma, with her good heart, forgave Kene, but the friendship can never be like before. Chima and Umma eventually got married, and her friend Uzo was the chief bridesmaid. They were all so happy, and they lived their life happily ever after. Now, the moral of this story is this: secrets, no matter how well hidden, always finds a way to come out. It's important to seek help and be honest with ourselves before it's too late. True healing comes from facing the truth, no matter how painful it may be. Secondly, let us try to be mindful of the kind of people we call friends, because they are actually friends that are unfriendly. Let us be careful of people we tell our secrets. Sometimes we should just be the best friends to ourselves and keep our secrets to ourselves. Thank you so much for listening to this story. I hope you learned a thing or two. My name is Onyi of Onyi Stories and Folktales, and please, if you haven't subscribed, kindly click on the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, so when I post more interesting and insightful stories like this, you'll be the first to get them. And if you're a returning subscriber, hey, thank you so much for listening to my story. I do appreciate your consistent support, and I don't take it for granted. See you in my next video. Bye.